This is the But Why template for Cohort 4, featuring Liz, Luis, and Ruby.
In New York, the minimum wage is $8.75. The average one-bedroom rent is $3,245. That means a person with a minimum wage job will have to work 370 hours a month, or they will have to get a full-time job that pays $20 an hour. A $20 an hour job will only pay for housing and will not help a family with other expenses such as food or transportation. Because of this, the homeless population have turned to the government for help.
Unfortunately, the government is asking these low-income families to pay more than their income for rent. This is because government-supported subsidized housing, or HUD housing, is being reduced. For example, in 2013, a low-income family was able to afford $1,000 in rent even though they only had a $300 income. This is because the government would offer to pay the remaining $700 for that Section 8 housing. Now, government will no longer be able to provide that full $700. Instead, they might only be able to afford $400 of it, and instead, the low-income family will be asked to pay that remaining balance.
The House Appropriations Committee this week approved a fiscal year 2015 funding bill covering the Department of Housing and Urban Development that makes disproportionately deep cuts to housing assistance for low-income families. Congress is operating under tight spending limits set by the Budget Control Act and the 2-year Murray-Ryan budget deal, and a projected decline in incoming revenues from mortgage credit programs has made the funding limits for non-defense discretionary programs even more stern. But the funding allocations that the House Appropriations Committee provided to its 12 subcommittees aggravated this problem by targeting the 2 appropriations bill with the greatest concentration of discretionary programs serving low-income people for the largest dollar cuts, including the Transportation HUD Appropriations Bill. And the committee has now produced a T-HUD funding bill for fiscal year 2015, in which the funding cuts for HUD's low-income housing assistance program are twice as deep in percentage terms as the overall percentage funding reduction for non-defense discretionary programs that's required to comply with the BCA caps. Unfortunately, for many Americans who are living with subsidized housing or HUD housing, by the end of 2016, will virtually be back out on the streets or forced to find other housing.